Hello. Hello. Well, that was testing. I was testing my microphone and my speaker. Yeah, good afternoon. Welcome to another session. I want to believe you've watched the previous videos. And remember I said, whatever questions you have, you should bring your question. We'll have a day. Maybe we'll look at the questions together. So, but today I'm going to do another video because it's not been so easy for us to have a time conducive where light and network is available and you guys are also there in the class. So we'll do this video and upload as done previously. So I'll share my slide. Share my screen. Pardon me, I'll share my screen for better learning. So the last class, we talked about software. You know, we finished all about hardware. We moved on to software. We spent quite some time talking about system software because I needed to explain operating system and all of that. Then we moved on to the application software. We saw the different types of application software. If I go there again, here, these are features of Microsoft Word, which we've discussed. This is application software, you know, where we saw the different types, productivities or business, graphic design, stroke multimedia, school or professional, home or personal, and of course, the one for communication, which is where you have your email, browser, chat rooms, news groups, instant messaging. So we've discussed quite a lot, dwelt so much on productivity software. We've gone up to database. We were discussing presentation software the last time, and we had to call it a day. So we will just do a quick run because today light has not been, this is the third time I'm having to do this. So I start, the light goes off or the network decides to misbehave. We're getting there, we're getting to the point where everything will be perfect, but until we get there, we just keep on going. Okay, so what is a presentation software? It's a software that allows a user to create documents called presentations, which are used to communicate ideas, messages, and other pieces of information to a group. You don't run a presentation for one person, except if the person is a dignitary and of course, you understand, a class, that you must do that maybe on requests or maybe for one specific reason or the other. So presentations graphics software uses predefined formats. It can be so beautiful when you've created one, you define colors and other elements for backgrounds, text and other items on the slides. It makes use of various slide layouts. And clip art images. And then you have the slide sorter. We'll explain all of this when we get to the practical section. So the next one is where there are other productivity software which we cannot pick one after the other to discuss, but we'll just look at them collectively. So we have what we call software suite, an integrated software. What do we call a software suite? A software suite or and an integrated software. This collection of individual application software packages, individual, but they are brought together and sold as a single unit. So you have them, that's why they are integrated, they are brought together, packaged together, and sold as a single package. Okay, that's a software suite. Now, what is the advantage? One advantage is the cost is cheaper. Lower cost is cheaper to have an integrated software or software suite. It's cheaper to have it, to buy it, than to buy them in singletons. That's 111. And it's also very easy to use because they share a common interface. When you see the Microsoft Word interface, is the same thing with the Microsoft Excel interface. That is the general interface. I'm not talking about the working area. It's the working area that differentiates them. You see, the Microsoft Word gives you a window, a typing area where you type. Microsoft Excel, apart from the general interface, common interface, it also, that one gives you an area, a document or typing area in form of cells and cells. That's formed out of intersections of rows and columns. You have the rows running down, lines that running down like this, and then you have the columns running across horizontally. And so that's the difference. And then database comes, you have database in tables. You use tables to configure a database and then plan it and all of that, and then store. And then you have the presentation software we just talked about. All of this can, the Microsoft actually has a Microsoft suite. That's the one that we just discussed. It's cheaper. Just imagine going to buy Microsoft Word alone, buying Excel, Microsoft Excel, that's spreadsheet alone. You go to buy PowerPoint alone, or you go to buy database software. That will cost you more. But when you have everything packaged into one single package, one single unit called a suite, it's a lot cheaper and it's easy to use. You know that what you find in this one will be, you also will find in this other one, and life is made easier. Right, we have personal information managers. These are software application that includes an appointment calendar, address book, notepad to help organize appointments and task lists. This is very good for very busy people, very busy executives, or people who are always on the go. They're always on the go from one country to another, one town to another, keeping up with business appointments. So such people will need this kind of software. Then we have the DTPs, desktop publishing software. This allows a user to produce sophisticated documents that contain text, graphics, and brilliant colors. Beautiful, it's beautiful. Uses page layouts and arrange your text and graphics in a document page, on a page. Then you have, what's this next one? I think I should run a slideshow. Let me run a slideshow, F5. Oh no, sorry, escape. F5. Okay, here we go, slideshow. We were on slide what now? Let's see. Slide what? Oh, we need to really scroll down. Okay. Slide 100. Go to. Oh no. Sorry, I need to get to the right slide number. Just give me a little time here. Okay. You're seeing this? Okay. All right, so here. So we're talking about this other productivity software. And then we have Paint and or image editing software, which you can use to draw. You can use it to draw pictures, shapes, and other graphical images using the various tools on the screen. There are also image editing software for modifying existing graphics. There are also video and audio editing software used to modify a segment of a video, which generally we call a clip. You can add and remove clips. You can add special effects to clips like sounds, banners, and credits. The clip art image gallery. The clip art image gallery is a collection of clip art and photographs. Miscellaneous items that you can find there. You can have fonts, animation, sounds, video, and audio clips. And you have multimedia authoring software used to create electronic interactive presentations that include text, video, audio, and animation. You can see they are interactive. That's why it's multimedia authoring, multimedia, okay? And it's also often used in education, where the teacher can teach and interact with the students, and it can be delivered via or through a CD-ROM or DVD-ROM. There's also the web page authoring software, which is used to create web pages and organize, manage, and maintain websites. Many other packages allow creation of web pages apart from this one. Then word processing programs allow creation of web. That's just an example of another package that allows creation of web pages. Web page authoring software, the popular packages that allow this are Microsoft Front Page, Netscape Composer, Adobe Go Live, and Macromedia Dreamweaver. This is actually about a very popular one. A lot of people use Macromedia Dreamweaver. Now there are software for school and professional use. Well, we are just looking at categories of application software. School and students management software. That's the software that could be used to manage everything about a school. It will contain a centralized program that allows district and school personnel to manage school district operations. And now, don't let the English there disturb you. We're just talking about having a software to manage the affairs of the school. Those software exists. You have the one that will be used to manage the students. Now, if in a particular district, you can have a software that will manage the schools in that district, maybe in a town or in an area, so keeping track. So places like education boards, ministries of education can use that school management software. Then student management software allows administrators, teachers, and other staff to track information on students. Now, this one is the one that individual schools will use to manage the information on their students. And they can also have staff management software, that staff working in the school. Now, educational software or reference, this software designed for the learning environment, and then the one reference software provides valuable and thorough information for everyone in an educational setting and in the family. Then there are special needs software. These are software for students with physical impairments or learning disabilities. Like you have students that cannot, talking is difficult for them, or hearing, they have hearing problem. And then even the ones that have eye problem, they cannot see very well, or, you know, we've all heard about the Braille, okay? Now, examples of this kind of software include speech synthesis software, software with text enlargement features, and then a software that talks, software talking to the user. Software for home and personal use is another category of application software. This can be used to manage personal finance of a home. It's a simplified accounting program that tracks personal income and expenses and tracks investments, online banking, and investing. Of course, there are people who are highly organized when it comes to finances. So using this software, well, it's a plus for them. Okay, I'm back. Sorry, I stopped that briefly. Sorry, I'm bringing back. This is where we were. I'm glad that, yes, I'm glad that we are still on track. So I was saying that there are people who are highly organized. You know, when it comes to money, they don't want to miss anything, and they don't want to, you know, mess things up. So this kind of personal finance software will be so useful to them. And then tax preparation software guides individuals, families, like abroad, individuals, families, small businesses, you can keep track of your tax, prepare your tax and everything. You know, well, in Nigeria, we don't have it that way here yet. The government does the taxing, the revenue offices, and they just tell us the tax percentage we need to pay as individuals. But there are software that help get all of this done, even to the point of printing tax forms. And then such software will also provide you tips to save some money from tax, you know, money saving tax tips are there. Then there are legal software for to assist in preparation of legal documents. Legal documents, they are there, such software are there, and also provides legal advice. Lawyers, of course, this kind of software will be very handy, very useful to lawyers. Then we normally talk about software upgrades or software versions. Sorry, I think I need to run this slideshow because some things are better like this. Now, what you hear of software versions and upgrades, now it's not a big deal. Software programs are designated with a version number. And why version number? Because whenever a software developer is developing a software, he or she must bear in mind that this software is going to be launched, out there, and people will use it. And when people make use of a software, there's always a room for feedback. There's a place for feedback. Any software developing company or software developing house, a software house or a software personal, a private software developer must always bear this in mind, that there is always room for feedback. You have a window where those who use your software can always say, we use this software, but it's not so good here. We would have loved this software to do this or do that or do that. And because of that, the software are numbered. You have version 1, version 0.1, and so version 2.1 or version like 2.0. And so when the feedback comes, let's say you have version 2.0 or version 1. Let's start from 1, version 1.0. When a feedback comes, the developers simply sit down and upgrade. They make changes. Upgrade is just a change. They make some changes to that existing software. And because they have made some changes, they now renumber the software version. So you can have version 1.1. Remember, the first one was 1.0. So you can now have version 1.1 or version 2, as the case may be. So an upgrade is a new version designed to replace an older version. And I've explained to you why this has to be so. Older version of software usually will not open files created with the newer version. Please, this is worth noting. If you have version 1.0 and now upgrade has taken place and the new version is version 2.0, for example, now it will not be that easy. In fact, lots of times could be practically impossible for version 1.0 software to open the one of 2.0. Why? Because it's lower than 2.0. So you want to know the version of your software. At any point T that you want to know the version of your software, go to that software's about. Every software will have its about command. When you're launching, you see about, before you launch it. And that usually you can find it in properties, and you see about command. So when you click that, it will show you the version number of that software. So we also have learning aids and support tools like online help, trade books, FAQs, that's frequently asked questions. And then we have tutorials. You have software that handle all of this. Okay, that is that about software. Thank you. Now let's move on to the last part. If you were to be in class right now, I would have asked you if you remember our block diagram of information system or of computer. So remember, we had the input. First we had the hardware software, remember? Then we had the input output unit. We had the processing unit. We had the storage unit. That's talking about hardware now. Then we had what else again? We had storage unit, yes. We had the CPU, that's the processing unit, okay? All right, that's the hardware. But when we talked about ICT, we said there is a C in the ICT. And that C, the first I is information, the T is technology, and then the C is communication. So we have looked at the I, which is all about information technology. We've looked at all of that. Information technology has to do with all we've been discussing. The computer, information, and software, all of that. Now let's look at the C component of ICT, communication and telecommunication. Now, communication is a sharing of information, messages between two entities. Now, these two entities could be two human beings. It could be two devices. It could be that you are sharing, you want to share information or message between your handset, your phone, and your computer. That's communication. Or you have two computers that you link, you use a cable and link them. You want to share information between those two computers. That's sharing of information, okay? Or you want to use, what do you call it? You want to use, any of there are different methods. Anyway, we'll come to that, okay? So we are looking at entities. So the entity could be, majorly in our study, we are going to be looking at entities, devices, two devices, okay? Now, what is telecommunication? Now, communication becomes telecommunication when the communication is going to span, or when it spans or covers a distance. It's not just like where I am, I have my handset and my computer, you know, they are close, okay? No, it's not just, you know, I'm so close like this, but where we are looking at some distance. It could be from one office to another office, or I have across two tables. In my office, there are two tables, maybe from one table to the computer on the other table, okay? So some distance, we are talking about. Once you talk of telecommunication, bear in mind that you are talking about communication over some distance, over a distance, okay? All right, let's go. What are the elements of a communication system? What are the elements of a communication system? We have the source, we have the communication channel or media, we have the receiver, we have the destination. So we are going to be looking at them. How many elements? 4. The source, the communication channel or media, the receiver. No, sorry, there are 5. I was just wondering, because I know there's a transmitter. You have the source, you have the transmitter, then you have communication channel or media, you have the receiver, and you have a destination. Sorry, I should have made the transmitter bold. I should have boldened it. Now, let's begin with the first element, source. The source. In a communication system, there must be a source. Now, the source is the originator of the message. Now, so if it is a person, it could be a person, it could be a machine. Remember, I said the entities that are involved in communication could be human to human, human to machine, or machine to machine, okay? Device to device, okay? Or human to device, or a human to human, okay? Now, if whatever, whether person or machine, the originator of the message, where the message is originating from, that's the source, okay? Now, the transmitter is a second element in a communication system, the transmitter. The transmitter is the equipment that modifies the message into the form required for transmission. Can you remember when we talked about modem? Modem, when we said the modem is modulator, demodulator. Now, you use that for communication. Okay. Now, if I am transmitting, now I am the source, the originator, okay? Now, what I transmit goes in through the speaker, into my system. There is a modulator that modulates my voice, changes it into a pattern, the pattern that can be transmitted to you wherever you are, such that when it gets to you, something again happens. I will explain that, okay? When it gets to where you are, there will be a receiver on your end that will again do some transformation that will enable you to receive, to now get the message. So now, a source is the originator in this situation now of what we're doing. I am the source. I'm a person, I'm a source. The transmitter, in this case, is my system. I'm using my system to run this Zoom meeting, okay? So it's my system. My system, my computer modifies everything I'm saying to the form required for transmission. Oh, good. Now, the next element of a communication system is the communication channel or media. The communication channel or media, this is the means of carrying the signal from source to destination, the means. Now, what do you think the means or the channel is here? I'm using the internet, okay? That's network, internet. Now, the receiver is a fourth element of a communication system. What does the receiver do? I've mentioned it before. The receiver is the device or equipment that captures the message from the channel and converts it into human or machine understandable form. Remember, I am the source. In this case, please don't say I am the source always. I am just making an example. The originator of the message is the source, okay? Now, the equipment that takes the message, modifies it into the form required for transmission is the transmitter. So in this example, I am the originator of the message. I'm the source. My system or my laptop is the transmitter, okay? Now, the internet, the network is the communication channel. Then the receiver is your own device. Whenever whether is your device is your phone or your laptop or a desktop, that will be the receiver. It will capture this message, that has been transmitted over the channel, over the internet now, and then transform it into a form you cannot. Now then the destination is the person or machine to whom the message is directed. Now, this lecture